Hey, it is Kim Corvin. And yeah, it's crazy with the color here. Anyway, Kim Corvin. This is Navigating Narcissism 3 Tips to Save Money During Divorce. Now, everybody knows this is the common story about how much money you spend to get divorced. And so some people stay. They're miserable. Their kids are miserable and acting out. And they're staying in the same house because of money fears. So, 3 things you can do to save money in divorce. First off, you can research how much does divorce cost? Okay? Check it out, research it. And yesterday's video, so December 3rd, I actually talk about what the average costs are. $54,000 if it's high conflict, lawyer stream, going to court, or $31,000 mediation stream, high conflict. So it gives you a sense of the cost. Set a budget. Even phone the local courthouse where divorces are issued and ask them, what are the fees? What do you charge to get divorced? What are the court fees? So you've gathered that information yourself. You can also, to save money, so gathering information yourself is one, right? Like about what's it going to cost. You can call lawyers and interview them and ask, so what do you charge your average family law client when there's a narcissist involved? They're likely not going to want to tell you. But I would just say, what's the range of what you charge? And if you want to know about those questions, reach out to me because I actually have a cheat sheet. I haven't set it up for you to click and automatically get it, but send me an email at kim@kimcorvin.com and say, I want the cheat sheet, and I will email it to you. Okay? So you gather information from lawyers, from the courthouse, and so you can set a budget. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is decide how you want the process to be. Okay? So if you and your spouse want to be, even one of you is a narcissist, you still want to be able to get along, it's important that you go to your child's graduation, sit beside each other. If that is your goal, then hiring a lawyer right away likely isn't going to help you achieve your goal. So my point is, work backwards, set a goal, and then go, okay, what process is going to support me in this? Is it working with a mediator? Is it working with a divorce coach? And negotiating directly with my spouse? Is it hiring a lawyer? So and then you can evaluate what approach works best for you. Now, the third tip, and this is, if you've hired a lawyer, nothing has happened for 3 years, or you've been stuck in mediation for a year, it feels like that there's been no progress. What you need to do is you need to stop and look at where you were when you started to evaluate, has there been progress? Because we tend to evaluate based on what we would like to happen, on this ideal. And then where we are, we're never satisfied with it. And so we keep spending. We keep chasing that ideal. So just to see, has there been progress? So you can evaluate, is this process working? If there hasn't been any significant progress, and I spoke to one woman a few weeks ago who said, yeah, I spent $60,000 on a lawyer in the last year, and all I got were a couple letters. That's an example of not a lot of progress where you might want to reevaluate. What prevents us from reevaluating, and this is all part of tip 3, what prevents us from reevaluating is this condition called sunk cost bias. Psychologically, how the brain works. Once we have invested time and money in one course of action, we continue. Doesn't matter what the objective evidence is. It's like, well, I've spent this money on this already. Why would I stop? And I remember when I was in university and one of my friends was talking about her boyfriend, and she said, "Ah, he does not get me. I just get so mad. I share things with him and he doesn't understand. He doesn't get me at all." I said to her, "Why don't you dump him?" I said, "Why don't you dump him?" And she said, "Well, I've invested 18 months in him already." Sunk cost bias. They went on to get married and they went on to get divorced because guess what? They were not well suited. So the moral of the game is if you recognize that sunk cost bias, there hasn't been the progress, sunk cost bias is coming in, you want to jump off that train and look at doing things differently. Now, I already mentioned you can email me at kim@kimcorvin.com to get the cheat sheet to interview a lawyer, but you can also email me if you are interested in learning how to jump off that train. Okay? Because it's a tough one, and having the right support to do it helps you and your children to get that, to achieve that goal that you want. So that is it for today's live. This is number 4 in 4 days. Yeah. So let me know what you think. And I hope to get an email at kim@kimcorvin.com because the cheat sheet to ask lawyers questions really, really is a gem. And people who've used it have found it very useful. Take care. Bye bye.